All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another FSN Supplier Discovery Day. My name is Jake Fishman. I'm joined by a franchise fan favorite, Gabriella Ferrara from Scorpion. We're doing things a little bit differently this time. We're going to be just spotlighting Scorpion. Going to pass the reins over to Gabrielle, where she's going to kind of talk through Scorpion, review if you guys don't know already, and then go through, give you guys a review of how their new approach and vision to how they're going to be changing the way they work with franchise brands. And then lastly, we'll give you guys a sneak peek of her Young Comp panel, which is, by the way, coming up very soon, next month in Chicago, May 13th to 15th. So, Gabs, why don't you give us a little sneak peek of Scorpion and introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Well, first off, I love my background and I love how there's wind blowing, and this is clearly where I wish I was. So for those of you that I don't know, I'm Gabriella Ferrara. I'm a VP of Sales for Scorpion. I've been in franchising for over 6 years and have been recognized as one of the 100 influential women in franchising, as well as I've been on the Franchise Millennial Power List. And I'm also very active in IFA, and I currently serve on the Women's Franchise Committee. So it's been really amazing getting to get very ingrained into franchising so quickly. And that's why I'm really excited to be, one, representing Scorpion, but just being able to talk about how we are supporting our franchise brands and really kind of the shift that we've been focused on over the past few years. So for those of you who don't know who Scorpion is, we have been around for more than 2 decades. We've really been the leader in helping local businesses find their most valuable customers through digital marketing solutions. We're not just embracing artificial intelligence, we're actually building it ourselves. And so with technology focused on driving revenue at every step of that customer journey, we're really pushing the industry forward past a focus on just leads and really towards a focus on what truly matters, which is growth. And so the way we've been doing that is the more that we can provide our customers with more data and transparency, and then leveraging that data to really ensure that your perfect customer finds you and chooses you, which is very important, it eliminates the need for some guesswork, and it's really allowing us to focus on the growth aspect. And I think just knowing the value of a lead, knowing the value of your customer, why did they choose you, where did they choose you, and et cetera, it's allowing our AI and our technology training it for every part of our marketing strategy to really understand how to get more of those. And so we want to know what's working in your entire business process, because the marketing funnel all the way to operations, like, we want to ensure that we're providing the right insights on those qualified leads to also then have the conversation to ensure that your sales or your ops teams are actually closing what would be your perfect customer. And so by shifting that conversation within franchise brands, it's allowing not only the franchisor to be more strategic, but it's also educating the franchisees on how to invest more locally in a more strategic and efficient manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that approach. Like, I've always thought, not all leads are created equal.
Correct.
So it's important to kind of distinct that. So, local franchisees aren't, wasting their time on leads that may not be actual leads.
Yep. And it's really also shifting that mindset of not just finding your cheapest cost per lead, it's really finding your most valuable customer, right? So it's shifting that cost per customer kind of, KPI metric versus doing just your, standard cost per lead, because not all leads are created equal. And being able to even shed light into the franchisee's lens of, hey, if you get X amount of leads, where should I be prioritizing my time? Is it, is there ways to better understand which one is scoring more qualified than not? And that's allowing them to even just be more mindful of how to spend their time and, being able to close those leads more efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that's not talked about enough. I feel like just any marketing company in general, like, the main priority is to get leads. But going through and getting more strategic is the best way for any franchisee to be successful. So with that being said, I'd like to hear kind of how Scorpion is kind of doing that, and what different ways like brands can start working with you. Obviously, you guys are very reputable. A lot of brands already work with you, but for those who haven't, talk through kind of like your guys' new approach and yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, I mean, we have been investing in artificial intelligence for years, like beyond when it was this buzzword that it is now. And we've built a lot of that technology in-house. And so that allows us to be really strategic in the way that we could be leveraging the data that we have, which I just want to touch on is data transparency is the key to all of this, right? And so without having clean data that's flowing from all of your digital channels, even to your CRMs or POS, like that is what we need to get to. And I think that we're seeing that more and more with a lot of franchise brands. You know, they need to be able to have a way to look at the revenue data and what's actually driving that ROI. And so then with having all of that information, we're layering a lot of different components. So think of things like if you wanted to do more of the organic strategy, we actually have ranking AI that's essentially being able to prioritize the strategies to do at the local level when it comes to your SEO. And so it's taking the once again like that guesswork of hey, we should do this for every brand, every single location, but maybe one location has a different thing that needs to occur versus another because of the market they're in. So that's just one way, at least on the organic side. When you're thinking about this leads aspect, right, we have something called Leads AI. And for those of you at Unconference, I kind of shared the insights that we're starting to really shed light on, which is when we're going through recorded calls or we're having people kind of interact with, let's say, a chat or something like that, we're training that machine to actually understand what does it mean to have intent of a lead so that we can provide that lead score and essentially give a value to the lead that's coming through. And that could be organically speaking, if someone just finds you on the website or calls you, but then also on any of those types of paid channels. So going back to how to prioritize individual franchisee's time, you go into your platform, and if you're seeing a ton of leads that are 75 scored and higher, it's a great day, but you also got to make sure that you're closing them because it means that they're ready to be closed. And so those are kind of just like two instances. Obviously advertising in general, there's so many ways to leverage AI when it comes to the optimizations and the channels and the budgets and et cetera. But those two in particular have really been moving the needle for our brands and our customers, because especially on the Leads AI side, now you could start sharing business insights with that brand. For example, if you have a ton of high performing, leads that, like I said, 75 and above, and they're not closing then, and they're not being marked as one, now the conversation shifts. It's not necessarily a marketing problem. Maybe there needs to be training on the operations and the sales side because, hey, we're giving you really qualified leads and you should be winning these customers. This is your ideal perfect customer. And so it's giving a lot of transparency to not necessarily having this blame game that marketing always gets put in that situation of I'm not getting enough, I can't do this, etc. And now it's just shifting the dialogue of maybe uncovering that there's some issue in the business process and allowing us to really be that strategic business consultant and not just a marketing company.
And that's the power of AI right there is, marketing companies get a bad rap for like, who you going to blame with leads when it comes to that. It's always marketing. And you're right, it's not always because of marketing, not because you're not getting good leads. Sometimes it is different underlying issue. So I think that is going to really give brands a head start on kind of how to differently approach it, because if it is an operational issue and how to nurture leads, then they can address it appropriately. I think it's going to bring a lot of value to brands, and I think not enough people are doing it. So I think it's a good way, because like a lot of the time, like if you're not properly addressing certain leads, like like anything, like in sales, like time kills any type of lead. So I think this is going to, help brands accelerate.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, it's giving insights of a scale that they've never had before, right?
Mhm.
And so being able to even just quickly analyze, hey, here are all the leads you got in the past month that are scoring X and higher. What are the reasons you're not closing them? And now it's like being able to summarize that really quickly. I mean, that in itself is the complete value of being able to shed, these types of details, and, not having a human person that has to go through everything, try to find themes and etc. It
Mhm.
happens within minutes. And that's really the power of leveraging AI in a way that's not just all these typical use cases we're hearing. It's really to make that business impact.
I mean, that's the cool thing about technology is like it would be impossible to do that, like
Oh yeah.
by just a human doing it. It's, you know, kind of going knee deep into technology and seeing the value in that. It's really cool to see you guys kind of transition into that lens.
Yeah.
Um, So thank you for that. That was awesome. Why don't we give the listeners a sneak peek of the YoungCon panel? Really, you have a pretty awesome panel that's joining. You kind of just shared who is joining, so it's pretty awesome. But why don't we talk through the topic that you're going to be addressing, and for those who are going to be joining us?
Yes, I'm very excited to be hosting the 2024 Marketing Trend Panel at YoungCon in May. And I do have an amazing panelists that are going to be contributing. I'll tease that out later, but I did get them all confirmed, and it is going to be a great treat for everyone. And so we're going to be discussing, just the need to have more data transparency. We're going to talk about what it's like to have better full attribution type of metrics, and then various ways to leverage AI, really not just to improve your conversions, but also to improve potential business processes. Because I think now the conversation is not just about AI, it's how can we actually apply it into making a better impact. And so that's what we're going to be really zeroing in on. And so we'll get to hear from, 3 awesome C-suite executives to share really what's on top of mind for them and their teams, and then how are they putting plans in place to really prioritize the upcoming trends. I want to make it as key takeaway as possible so that people can go back to their, back to their teams, back to their leadership, and start having, really strategic conversations. So very excited to not only be on the committee, but also be hosting a panel at YoungCon this year.
Yeah, very excited about that. I was telling Gabs before this, I actually led that panel last year, and it was cool kind of like where you're taking it, because when I did it, it was like the start of AI making a huge effect into franchising, and now seeing kind of they have a couple years under their belt and figuring out what is going to be working and what's not working. So very excited about that. I know you're going to kill it. Uh,
Thank you.
so it's gonna be a good one, and yes, it's a rock star panel. So anyone who is not signed up better sign up quickly. We are fastly approaching our maximum amount of people, so the sooner the better. And it's in beautiful Chicago, a mile away from my place, so very easy. So Gabs, thank you so much for joining. A lot of cool things coming up for Scorpion. If you are interested in talking to Gabriella, definitely reach out to her or us. Happy to facilitate an introduction, and we'll see y'all at YoungCon.
Great. Thank you so much, Jake, for having me, and excited to hopefully see you at Young Conference. And if not, just connect with you at a future event.